This is Omar for BoxNation. I'm delighted to be joined by amateur heavyweight sensation who's now turning pro on the Queensberry and Frank Warren Delicious Orie. I don't know really where to start with you. So much to unpack being born in Russia as a mixed race guy, your name, Delicious
Yeah.
Orie, your amateur career. So we're going to go through it all and try and get as much out of you in these 10, 15 minutes here, Delicious. Let's start with being born in Russia, being raised there, etc. Just give me your memories of that and how was it as a mixed race guy?
Uh, the memories I have is, I'm just a standard Russian kid, apart from the mixed race element of it. I went to school there, nursery, bit of kindergarten. I don't know if it's the same thing, but I did bits of education there. Obviously surrounded by my mom's side of the family, and just one of the biggest things I remember is a little bit of hardship that mom and dad would have gone through. You know, my dad would have had less opportunities, lack of opportunities being up there, and I remember as a kid feeling that a little bit. My mom and dad did a good job sort of shielding it from me, but it's still kind of penetrated through, and I was still able to feel that hardship. So when I was about 7, 8, when I did move to the UK, I felt like there was this sense of heightened responsibility to make sure I look after my family and my parents and everybody around me. So that's why that at that age it was just I was very very much headstrong. So it was from being able to learn English from scratch quickly to then making sure I perform well in school and get the right grades, get into university, like the standard stuff, and making sure I excel in everything I did.
What was the most difficult thing as a child in Russia?
I say the most difficult thing was it's just this sense of, and I was able to relive it a little bit, when I because I boxed on Team GB. I'm sure we'll move on to that. I would go into these Eastern European countries and I sort of feel that sort of being there as a kid again, because some of the familiar foods that I'll eat and all that. I think one of the hardest thing is how hard it was there. It was very unforgiving. There was no this thing of you didn't get a free lunch, as to say. It was difficult, and I remember as well also feeling different. Uh, so and not being able to get access to much. Being in these quite depressing Soviet blocks. It wasn't the, the most fun memory, but yeah, I guess that was my childhood.
Was there any enjoyable elements?
um, I had a very good family. My family were good. They were they were supportive and they were always there for me. So I'd say that would be the biggest thing the positive thing I'll take from that whole experience as a child.
When you were traveling on Team GB, you touched upon it there, but the fact that you were brought up in an Eastern European country and a lot of your fights and traveling and training camps would be in Eastern European countries, did that stand you in good stead? Delicious.
Yeah, I mean, I was familiar with the area, as in the way they did things. And for example, I would be sort of like the lead translator in between like the GB coaches and the whatever it was, the Kazakh coaches or the Bulgarian coaches, etc. Um, but like I was saying before, it was like these certain air, like playgrounds, because they're all quite similar. Playgrounds are quite the same, so it just reminds you of when you was as a kid. And I don't know, I couldn't pinpoint to you what was hard about it. Um, but all I can remember is this feeling of hardship, which, to be honest, is the reason why I do what I do today. I still feel like I'm that 6, 7 year old child inside doing this, the same thing, which is basically trying to make their parents proud.
There must be more to why you're doing this. Like,
It's massive. The feeling I have, I started when I started at 18. It was that same feeling. It was this feeling of when you're in Russia, and I came to the UK. One of the biggest things I noticed was the op- the opportunity that the UK gave. For example, the extra English lessons that I was able to do, which were completely free. The basketball clubs, things like that. That wasn't available to me growing up. So I made sure to take advantage of as much as I possibly could. So that is for me my ultimate driver. I still genuinely feel like that little child who just wants to do good for himself in an environment that at the time didn't allow me, or I felt a little bit inferior, if you will. So if it's this inner child within me that's allowing me to do what I'm doing today.
Is that heartbreak of Paris now gone, would you say?
No, it's not gone at all, unfortunately. Uh, I don't know if it will ever will go, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite sad. But I'm okay with the sadness, you know. I'm okay to live with that sadness forever. The main reason is because I know that I'll never be able to do it again and get that gold medal or whatever medal. Uh, so yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because you know you put 8 years of work into something relentlessly. You know, through you've gone through so many trials and tribulations, so many people telling you can't do it, you're proving them wrong, and then when it was actually in your hands, you didn't do it, and you could never do it again. That's heartbreaking. You know, I can't begin to explain to you how heartbreaking it is. So, uh, it's something that I've got to learn to live with, and that's just life. And this is one of the experiences that I've got on through life.
Okay. Well, appreciate you being honest there, because that
Yeah,
is quite a big thing you said. But I'm sure as you go on in your professional journey and your ambition, of course, is to rack up titles and belts, etc., that maybe it can just soften the blow a little bit.
potentially, I like to think so, and I think as well as I develop into a man and I become more reflective and understanding, I just appreciate that that's what life that is life. You can't get everything that you want to get, no matter how hard it is you work for it. It's just the way life goes.
Guessing this is a pretty obvious answer, but I'm going to ask you the question anyways. Why turn professional with Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions?
So specifically, Queensberry Promotions, they're a fantastic promoter. What one of the main reasons for me, I was speaking with George Warren actually in the initial um, sort of meetings and stuff, and I was very much impressed by George. I think he carried himself so professionally, and one of the things I felt was this thing of we can really build you as to be a great heavyweight. Don't get me wrong; it's all on me whether I'm a great heavyweight or not. But I know that they could provide the facilities for me to do just that. They can build me into this, dominating thing in basically in boxing. So Queensbury all the way for me.
For sure. I mean, I said it's obvious because I've heard you say it as well, and it's quite clear they've got a monopoly on the heavyweight division, especially within this country. I mean, every recognised talent is practically with Frank Warren Queensberry in the heavyweight division. So once you start getting sort of drawn to those names in a couple of years, 3 years, those are going to be so easy to make, and there's so many unbelievable fights within this country that we can make. We are going to go through the names, but it's a great time to be a heavyweight. I'm sure you share that sentiment.
Yes, definitely. And I see what Queensbury are doing, they're bringing all the heavyweights together. So and they're building them up properly. So then when the time comes when we're all ready, we have a good scrap. And that's what it's all about. UK fans want to see it. The world wants to see it. And what better place to do it than in the UK?
Those meetings with George Warren, obviously you're not going to reveal everything, but kind of what was the general plan, the outline about how they're going to get you to the top?
The biggest thing that I took was the fact that I'm going to be kept very busy. Made sure that I have the right fights at the right time and build myself onto that British level scene. I know that I'm more than capable of getting to that level in fairly good time. So I was really happy with the way George spoke about the progression. It's not rushed, but it's not slow either. It's just perfect for me and my ability. So that would get me to the top. I knew it will. So George was actually the first person out of all the promoters that I met, and he set a very, very high bar and a very high standard. And I met all these promoters and businesses, etc. And I thought, nah, it's gonna be Queensbury.
Managerially, you'll be with STN Sports. You're training with Grant Smith as well in Sheffield, who's not one for the cameras, but anyone within boxing knows a top class trainer and produce some brilliant talents over the years and developed some really good guys as well. So talk to me about those decisions going with STN and Grant Smith as well.
I mean, with STN, big up Sean O'Toole. Look, STN, I've known the person who runs it. I've known him for much longer than STN existed, and even before I was on GB, just about won an ABA title. So it runs deeper than just a managerial contract. It's people that I genuinely trust. And one of the biggest things that I'm told over and over again as I tell professionals, you got to be careful with these people. And I'm more than confident that I have the right team around me. They say you naturally attract the people that like-minded people, and I do genuinely believe these people that I've surrounded myself with are like-minded and just want me to do great things. And I'm the same, vice versa. These people that I work with, as I say, and I say to my management all the time, a rising tide raises all boats. I want everyone to make sure that they achieve the things they wanted to achieve. We all work together. The same with Steel City and Grant. I've known Grant over the years, and I was able to build a relationship with him. I've tried other gyms, professional boxing gyms. I just have always felt that Grant has the tools, and he knows how to sharpen my tools and adjust my tools to get me to the top of the professional scene.
So with this current crop, just kind of give me some of the top names that you've shared round with up in Sheffield at GB, some of the sort of big names in the division at the moment.
So as in professional?
Professional, yeah.
So professionally, I wouldn't say I've mixed around with many of them, primarily because, and I have been invited to training camps and a lot, but one of the biggest things was to protect me from getting too exposed to that professional scene, purely because professional boxing is a different game. Sometimes it's not worth the niggle or the potential risk in order to go and have a training sparring camp. The way GB boxing would have seen it is it's better to have a training camp with amateur boxers that are training to be Olympic gold medalists instead of professional boxers who are training to win a fight or win a medal, win a belt or whatever. So obviously when Anthony Joshua was on with Robert Kraken at the EAS, I was there. So I've done a couple of training camps with AJ, not many rounds, but just a few here and there. Of course, Fraser, who's a pro now, I've done many rounds with Fraser. So, and he's helped me sort of all the way through my amateur career to get me to where I am today. So I was able to learn so much from Fraser. And the list will go on now as I turn professional.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to share, a ring with many of these guys. I'm just going to name them. I want you to just sort of say the first word, the first couple of words that comes to your mind when I say these people, okay? So Daniel Dubois.
Power.
Fabio Wardley.
Courage.
Moses Itauma.
Power. I'll say speed.
Okay. David Adley.
I was going to say power. Smart.
Sol Dakers.
I don't even know if I haven't got a word for. I haven't got a word here. What's going on? Athlete.
Johnny Fisher.
Power.
Okay. So out of that crop,
Bosch. I should have said Bosch.
Should have said Bosch. Set you up.
I missed out.
Out of that crop, I'm not sure how much boxing you sort of watch, but who do you rate as the best one?
Out of them, Moses Itauma and Daniel Dubois. I'll say if I had to pick one, I'll say Daniel Dubois.
Okay. Why Daniel and Moses?
Because Daniel because he's knocked out AJ and he's 20s, he's my age. Moses Itauma because he's young. He's 19.
20, just turned 20.
So he's 20. He's young. I've sparred him a couple of times. He's packs a punch. I'll tell you that. He's somebody that you want to make sure that you've had your breakfast before sparring. Make sure you're switched on because your lights out. So yeah, I'll say those two are my favorite heavyweights at the moment.
Well, listen, who knows? Delicious Orie v Daniel Dubois, Delicious Orie
Oh,
v Moses Itauma. One day,
yeah, one day.
one day will happen. Listen, appreciate your time. Good to sort of meet you, and I'm sure we're going to be doing plenty of more over these next few years where this Delicious Orie journey continues.
Thank you very much.
Top man.